Yeah, yes,
Hello.
yes, myself, Ramesh, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you able to hear me, right?
Pardon?
Hello? Hello?
Yeah. 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 I can hear you. So can you hear me clear?
Yes, yes, I'm able to hear you.
Okay, fine. So this is regarding the interview schedule 7 o'clock, right?
Yes, yes,
Um,
yes.
okay. So yeah. So shall we continue our discussion and complete this interview?
Yes, yes, we can continue.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Right. So you know about the requirement, right? The current requirement. What?
Yeah, yeah, yes.
Okay. So fine. So yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead and explain your technical experience so far in .NET technologies. You can take examples of last
Hmm.
3-4 years of experience, what you have worked on, different technologies and different projects. Yeah,
Okay,
you can
okay.
start briefing them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yes. Okay, I started my career with .NET Microsoft Technologies, and coming to the technical skills, I have experience on ASP.NET and ASP.NET MVC, Web API is a service layer, and C#.NET, and backend as MS SQL Server. And coming to the front end technologies, like even I do have experience on Angular 4 and 6 version, Angular JS, service layers as a WCF. Uh, and backend as MS SQL Server. Yeah, coming to the projects actually, so I have an experience on domains, various domains like insurance domain and banking domain and retail
Ramesh,
and yeah.
your voice is breaking. Like in between it is breaking.
Sorry,
It's
I'm
not
sorry. And
clear.
now you are able to hear?
Yeah, I can able to hear you, but when you are telling about these things, right? When you are in a flow, in between, I'm missing
It is
some
clear
words.
now. Now it is clear.
Yeah, yeah, it is clear
Yeah.
now.
Okay. Actually, okay. Uh,
So is there the signal problem you have?
yeah, yeah. I think might be signal problem actually. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So go
So
ahead. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, coming to the projects actually, so I have worked on different domains and the different insurance, banking, and oil and gas, different domains I worked on. So we have used technologies like jQuery and Web API and ASP.NET MVC and different technology. We have used HTML, JavaScript, and all. So even I have an experience for products as well actually. So yeah, coming to the my recent project, it's a trade kit workbench application actually. So basically, it is in a insurance domain. So we have designed the product of a project end to end, starting from the requirement specifications till to the project closure actually. So I was involved in all the phases of SDLC, like we have followed agile methodology. And for this particular project, I was when the manager is not appointed, like technical architect is not appointed, I was taken responsibility for involving the technical discussions like a design specification, like preparation of LLD document, DLD documents, and proposing the solution to the you client actually. So and taken responsible for complete requirement analysis and designing the document flow and creation of the frameworks, utilities, and all. So distributing the work to the developers. So from that phase I have involved, and we have used Web API. Basically, this is a service layer. So we have created we have implemented security, authentication, authorization, and we have used repository pattern. So we have created utilities for common functionality, like uploading the documents to the SharePoint and processing the documents, and mm, we have implemented exception handling actually. So all the layers we have covered actually. So
Okay.
basically separate
So
architects.
yeah, you mean to say all the layers in the three-tier architecture you have covered.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, so we will talk about specific project or a product which you have worked on. Take a product or project which you
Mm,
have worked on and explain about the project, what
Okay.
problem it is solving, and what kind of architecture it has,
Mm-hmm.
and what are the technologies implemented in that particular, specifically that particular project,
Okay.
and your roles and responsibilities in that particular project, and your team's structure.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
So in that scenario, the layer, the architecture of that particular project, and how you have implemented and those things.
Yeah. So for that insurance project like trade credit workbench application, it is something like it will basically provide the policy information. So this particular company entity will provide the insurance for the different different insurance, like in person they will provide the insurance, and other organization and all. For this we have created a dashboard. So the dashboard consisting of upcoming policies, renewed policies, which are expired, and newly created policies and all. There are different stages. Once the user will create the policy, so it will go to the different phases like policy information verification, and then different stages it will go actually. So basically this we have implemented for 3 products. Like the product names called as trade credit and surety and CF contract frustration. So for these 3 types of product we have created a policy. So and we have provided a dashboard. Using the dashboard we are providing a facility to create the policy information. Okay, for this we have some data is common, right? So for that we have created a master table like countries. Countries are common and states are common actually. So we have created a generic information from the database, and we are pulling the details. So for each and everything we have followed very high level, architecture. Like for each and everything we have created an API, separate API. For master information we have created a like workbench master API. So the project is called Workbench Master API. So if any person wants an API which will reduce the country information, they will invoke with this API. So like that policy API, and for a policy itself, policy insurer and policy buyer, and in between a broker will be there. So he will provide the policy to the users, right? So broker information. So like once the policy is created, so the user is going to get the reports, policy history information, policy bond information. For each and every module we have created a separate API, and since it is a global application, so this application, once it is developed, it was hosted in 2 regions. One is US and one is EU, other than US region. So for that we have used aggregators. So the incoming request is coming, so we need to identify, right? So from which region it has to invoke the request, either US server or EU server. So for that we have used aggregators, and as I told, we have implemented Theta architecture. Front end will be the Angular, and some of the pages we designed in .aspx, and and it will internally communicate with the API logic API. So and from there we are configured 2 databases. For policy we have policy database. From that it will interact with the database data access layer. We have used repository pattern and unit of work there, and singleton pattern we have used, and we have used all the solid principles and all. So we have followed all the standards. On top of that we have a common utility project actually, which will provide all the basic functionality like uploading the documents, and exception handling, and web helper and web service helper. Web service helper is nothing but web API. Basically we will send a request, right? So basically post for creation of the resource, and put and delete, and these resource, right? So we need to provide the API path, which API it has to invoke. So for that we have created a common utility, web service helper dot invoke post, means it will invoke the post request, like that. So like that we have used, and mm, coming to the database, we are at the time of requirement analysis. Based on the entity, we have created the database. Like policy, I have worked on policy module actually. This is a very big module, which consisting of creation of the policy, updation of the policy details, and the policy premium rate calculations we need to define actually, and policy history information. Let's say, for example, the end user wanted to requesting for the certain period of the time. He wanted to see the details of the policy and policy premium history information. So we need to generate a report for that. So that also we handled. So just we have followed a very high level architecture, something like a microservices. Each and every module we created an API, so that so the other teams also they are going to consume the API.
Okay. So when yeah, you said like web APIs. Is it a web API or WCF?
No, it is a web API only.
So how did you implemented the data here? Is it an entity framework or ADO.NET? How it is?
It is an entity framework actually.
Okay. Entity framework, which one? Code first or database first?
We have used DB first only.
Yeah. So apart from repository pattern, any other design patterns did you implement or in any of the projects?
Yes. We have implemented, apart from the repository, Singleton we have implemented, and facade pattern we have implemented. So facade, while working with the credit card account maintenance application, so I work for one of the banking client. So there we have a requirement for closing of the credit cards. So the bank will issue the credit cards to the customer, right? So there will be a multiple request from the customer to close their credit card. So to closing the credit.
I got
yeah.
that.
So facade we have implemented, and builder pattern we have used, and factory pattern, abstract factory design pattern, and builder abstract factory, and
did you use dependency injection pattern?
Yes, we have used actually. We have used a dependency injection. It's a process.
What did you use in which project, and what is the reason you have used dependency?
No. Almost all the projects we have used this principle or this pattern actually. So to decouple the system actually, basically. It tells that a dependency injection is a process of injecting the dependent object rather than consumer is going to consume. Why we are going to use this principle is to decouple the system and for unit testing also. So it will say that higher level module will depending on the lower level module, right? Let's say for example, I wanted to design a course information. So this course student will depend on courses, right? Students going to enroll the courses. So to decouple the system, basically we followed the constructor dependency injection. We are going to use the interface, and we are going to declare the function implementation, define the members contract in the interface, and using constructor dependency injection, we are going to achieve this dependency, and we have used Unity container for that. So we have a Unity container. We need to install from the NuGet actually. WebAPI.unity. So it will give us a file actually. We are going to register the dependencies like the interface and the class we are going to register, so that it will resolve the dependency in runtime actually.
Okay. So in that scenario, did you use unit testing framework? Any automated unit testing framework?
Unit testing, NUnit we have used. So for all the projects, so as it is, we have all the layers like WebAPI and all. We have used unit testing project as well. So whichever we develop that controller action method, we are going to test that using NUnit.
Okay. So how did you test the dependent methods? The one method result will be output for output result will be the input for other method, right? So in those scenarios, how did you write your unit test cases for those methods?
I didn't get this question. One method.
Okay. So basically, one method will return
A. Got it. Yeah.
But A becomes input for the other method.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in that scenario, you need to resolve the dependencies, right?
Yes.
Unit test cases should run independently.
independently. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you manage that thing, that
Mm,
dependencies between methods?
like unit of inversion principle or mocking, mean to say,
Okay.
we are
Mocking,
going
like which one you have used? Mocking?
mocking.
How mocking works?
Mocking in the sense, let's say, for example, sometimes the web service or API may not be available actually. In that case, if it is not giving the proper results, so then we will configure the XML file and all. So from there, we are going to mock the diverting the result actually. Sometimes we are not getting unable to get the results. So sometimes we are uploading the documents to the SharePoint. It will take time and it will give it may take time actually. So in that case we will use the mocking
Okay. Okay. So mocking, which framework you have used? Mocking framework.
framework. We have used DLLs actually. So yeah, recently also we have implemented for one of the to generate the on-fly PDF document. Sometimes we may not get the actual data, so for that we have configured the information and we have generated. Mm.
Okay. Okay. So, like while you are explaining, you said like web API you have used. So,
Mm.
WCF applications are also like you have developed in other projects, right? So,
WCF, yes.
WCF, I think you have mentioned somewhere.
I have used long back 2010, 11, that time 2013.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So how do you find web API and WCF? Like, which
Mm-hmm.
one is better and how is it?
Yeah, in basically in Web API, basically it works for HTTP protocol only. But in case of WCF, we can using NetTCP binding, WSHTTP binding, those bindings for working with the multiple protocols. That difference I observed. And compared to the in Web API, so web.config, web API.config file will be there. All the configuration related settings will be there in this configuration file. So coming to the WCF services, we need to configure multiple things like in service contract, operation contract, message contract, and fault contract for exception handling and all. So and also we have a different HTTP status codes for telling the status when we invoke the web service. It vary from 100 to 500. 200 means okay. 404 means resource not found. 500 means internal server error. Like that, it will provide the status codes. In case of WCF, knowing the things like whenever where exception occur, it is a little bit difficult. So by using this status code, we can easily came to know that if we got an error like 500 internal server means maybe the web API URL is wrong or something is data is mismatching. We came to know that. So that is also there, and hosting is also differ coming to the web API and WCF.
Okay. Um, mhm. So nowadays, like, which one you prefer? Like, when you have a requirement to implement
Mm-hmm.
the service methods, right?
Yes, yes.
So in the current scenario, which one
Mm-hmm.
you prefer?
I'll
The full.
prefer developing the functionality using web API only, because the reason is, let's say for example I have a requirement to upload the document to the secured FTP like FTP. So if I develop that in the web API, so if I provide the input request, and it will give the response, right? So whether it will provide the functionality, the requested information document will be uploaded into the FTP. So if I done with the web API, tomorrow another team or another project, we may require the same functionality, right? So in case this will be a common, functionality or common reusable thing actually, API over the web.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So, did you work with on-site team? Like, how the project, like, the project you have worked, right?
Yes, yes.
How it has been executed? What is the process you follow?
Process, yeah,
Said
process,
already
yeah, there will
how the
be.
requirement
Mm.
will be given to you, and who are all different stakeholders in that particular project, and how it works.
Yeah, actually, one product owner will be there in on-site, and one associate manager, technical lead will be there in the on-site. So we are coordinating with them in terms of getting the requirements, and we have daily Scrum calls, right? So we are going to discuss about the particular user story and all. So if you are getting any information, if you need any information, we'll have a call actually. So with them, and so we'll get the things actually, then we'll work on the required thing. Sometimes we'll send a mail. Most of the time actually we'll send a mail. Let's say for example today we have started the user story, and we will do the analysis, and we will draft a LLD first we will prepare a LLD design document. In the design document we'll put all the things: what is the API, and what is the request content body, response content body, what is the contract and all. So, and is there any other business logic? So, is there any dependencies? Those all we will mention in the document. We'll send it to the on-site manager for the review. So, since he is closely interacting with the business and client, so he may have a discussion with the client, and once he is giving the sign off in the LLD, then we will start the analysis and design and all. So, and he will provide the review comments on the LLD. So no, in this particular class, one more field is added, and this field is we do not require this field. So they will review the document in detail and provide the response. That is one way actually to continue with the user story. Since it is a already developed application, then we will just discuss with the on-site manager how to do and all. Is there any common thing utilities available? Then we will make use of that one, and we will continue with the work.
Okay. So how once you develop the thing, and how it goes, like you have implemented the requirement provided.
Yes. Once the functionality is developed, right? So we will have different environments like dev environment, QA, and stage environment, and pre-production and production, right? So once we will completing of developing the user's screen or any functionality, anything. So we will test locally. We'll do the code reviews and unit testing and all. So once everything is done, we will raise a pull request for reviewing the code, and after that we are following DevOps actually. So initially we will after testing thoroughly locally, we will raise a pull request, reviewing the code with the on-site coordinator, and then it will be deployed into the dev environment basically. So once the dev environment is deployed, so we will test with that deployed URL. So it is deployed in so and so environment, right? Using that, we are going to test that functionality and all. So along with the user screens, it is validations are performing correctly or not. All the things we will test.
Okay. In the PR, what you do, is it do you?
Yes.
Team is performing code review.
Yeah, team. Yeah, we will do the code reviews. Basically, we'll verify all the field. Let's say for example, we have created a model, right? A class. So how we will do the code review means, in the class we are maintaining a class. We are declaring the properties. We need to know that each and every property where it is using actually. So whether it is required or not. If it is required additional validations we need to perform or not. So we will do the code review in detail, and sometimes we'll write some duplicate. Developers will write some duplicate, right? So for that we have some static code analysis tools are there. So by using them, we came to know and all. We'll follow all the basic things actually. So how to do and all. So conditions, switch, if conditions, loopings, collections we can use. All the areas we can think about it, and we have a work item, right? Using that work item, we'll raise a PR pull request, and they will review actually. Basically, we'll follow all the environments, right? Development, QA and all. So in the all, for all environment, each environment, one config file will be there. So in the configuration, we need to provide the with respect to configuration information for the each environment. So even config file also we will verify there, because tomorrow if it is goes to live or dev or QA testing environment, the from the server it will take from the configuration file itself, right? All the setting and all. So our API, let's say for example, it is interacting with other integration service, some other service. We need to provide the other integration service information in the configuration, right? So we mentioned properly or not, we will verify those things also.
Okay. So like, what are the biggest challenges? Like, you can take any of the challenges you might have faced
Yeah.
in the projects. Like, what are those and how you have resolved them?
As of now, challenges, sometimes we'll get some production issues, right? Right? So we may not have the code available once it is deployed to the production or some environment. We don't have any code and all. We will just simply download the code from the repository, and we will analyze the issue actually. So whether it is from code end, code fix, or database side, or any configuration issue or like that. Sometimes what will happen, our .NET service will interact with the other Pega service also, Pega or some SAP service, different services, right? So we are providing the input to the other services. So sometimes one field mismatching is also will recently we found out this issue. So there is a contract ID. So in that contract ID we are passing D as small lowercase letter, lowercase contract ID. So where other side that service is accepting capital D. So due to this also it was failed. Initially we verified the code, then we went to database and all. Finally we are hitting their service. It is failing with the data. So we came to conclusion that due to this property issue it is failing. So that is one example, and one is for data example. For analysis, we will maintain all exception logs. We will maintain a database configuration. So if any exception will come, it will log the information into the database, and also we will log the API configuration information. Which API it is hitting, what is the request information, and what is the response information.
So those are all like normal things, right? Normal images, like every project should have these controls and control mechanisms where you log the issues and you verify the issues in the production and that thing.
Yeah, correct.
So I was asking in the prospect like how while taking decisions like architectural decisions or
correct.
decisions, in those scenarios, what is the challenge you have faced and how you have resolved that?
Yeah, challenge, I can tell you that one of our this Workbench project, insurance project, creation of the policy, it's a big module, right? It can handle creation of the policy, deletion, everything it will handle actually. So initially what we did, right, at the time of starting of the development, we created the policy object. Internally, it will contain all the information like policy information, insurer information, broker information, policy history, premium rate, and all the information, and it is saving the database one by one initially at the time of developing the application. So what will happen while fetching the policy object is a huge object actually that consisting of like 150 fields actually. So while showing the policy information into a UI, it is taking too much of time. I mean to say that 1 minute it is taking. After hitting the API, it is for getting the result and showing in the UI, it is taking 1 minute actually. So that time when we are discussing, our architect told that why we need to create multiple APIs. We can put the information in a single API and we will get the information. But we don't know this issue will come until we reach the UI layer. So after that we modified by splitting the single policy object into different objects like policy. For policy information we have policy, insurer we have insurer, broker, like the different APIs we have created, so that one part of portion of the page is loading, right? Policy information. Then again API call will have with the some policy insurer, and the insurer's details will be loading. Then broker details hit and broker details loading. So that is one issue we have faced actually.
Okay. Okay. So are you in front of the system so that I can share my screen and show some scenarios?
No, actually, I'm in office.
You are an officer. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
And you can tell me, you can, okay, if it is.
It is kind of code review.
Okay.
I cannot tell you about the code, right?
Okay, fine.
We need to have a Skype sharing. So yeah, when can you like take this thing today? Is it possible like tonight?
Today, 1 second. Now it is 7:30, right? So, 9 o'clock would okay for you? 9 o'clock or 8?
9 o'clock is fine. 9 o'clock is fine for me.
Okay, 9 o'clock. Okay, I will take 9 o'clock today.
Okay, then I'll send you the link. Okay, where I'll share my screen and I'll give you the context of that particular code.
Okay.
So that you can provide me the code review findings.
Sure, definitely.
And the issue, I'll give you a stack trace error message, which has details of the issue.
Okay.
We can also hide that thing and so basically this pattern what we are following right now, this entire pattern will be there in the client round also.
Okay.
Same kind of pattern.
Okay, sure, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I'll take today. Yeah.
Okay. And one more scenario, like I'll give you one scenario, the business use case, and then you can suggest what do you call? You can suggest the best method to implement that, because that is also one of the like
okay.
things you need to check for the architectural decisions, how you take and all.
Yeah. Okay.
So that is like I'll explain you.
So I have a small thing actually. If you give the scenario, do I need to prepare a document, the flow, how it is goes like that, or you want me to?
No, it's on the fly. Like you can, I just explain you about the phone. It's a simple thing only.
Okay, fine. Fine.
So now itself we can complete that.
Okay.
So let me explain you that. So basically we have retail vendors. Okay.
Okay.
So retail vendors are there for the wholesale company. So the wholesale company service logic will receive orders from the retail vendors through XML files.
Okay.
So retail vendors are two types of retail vendors currently we are dealing with.
Okay.
So that we have two types of classes, retail vendor classes, class A, like retail vendor A and retail vendor B.
Okay.
So in the wholesale vendor service, where I am consuming this, so you can take it as a client.
Okay.
Where I am consuming this class A and class B. So there I'm every time I'm creating concrete classes object, like create like retail vendor A and retail vendor B objects in the wholesale vendor logic. Okay. So in future, if I add more retail vendor types, right? Like C, in future it may add to that particular thing, right? So at that time, what happens is I need to go back to my service method, and there I need to create objects for C and D also, and make use of.
Okay.
So instead of doing so, how would I refactor this code, this classes, this entire code, to not to touch every time, not to go to the client where I have implemented these classes, where I have consumed these classes. Okay, not to go to there every time and update, and whenever I add a new retail vendor. How do you suggest, what is that going to refactor this?
Okay, in the approach we can use like abstract factory pattern we can use.
Mhm.
Okay, because it will generate the factory of factories, right? So today you have retail vendor A and retail vendor B. Tomorrow it may not be anything, right? So we need to implement abstract factory pattern actually. For that, basically the definition of abstract factory pattern is um, we will use an interface for the creation of the object, but let the subclass going to decide which object it has to want actually, which object it want actually. So for that we will create an interface and we'll implement we'll take an abstract base class, and we are going to implement we will going to provide the implementation in the abstract base class. Okay, so that we are this child classes, right? All we are going to implement.
Mhm. So, so in the client, how will you consume that?
So in the client, right?
Client in the sense the wholesale.
Yeah. So in the client, we are going to assign the interface reference variable to the type of the class actually, so that we are going to invoke the members of the abstract members.
So basically you are doing an independence injection, like you are injecting the client.
Yes. That.
You are injecting the objects, like whatever objects you require, like whether it is A or B,
Correct.
to the
Yeah.
client. Client will receive those objects and implement that.
Yes.
That's what, right? So that's a dependency injection where you need to so every time whenever you add a new type, right, you don't need to change your client code.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it is something like I can give an example, similar example. Let's say, for example, generic high-level common example. I wanted to, we know circle, right? We know circle, rectangle. Let's say, for example, this circle and rectangular belongs to the shape entity. Entity is nothing but shape, right? So if I provided rounded means it should return the circle. Okay, round means circle. Sorry, if I pass a boolean variable like is rounded false means it should give the rectangle entity type, and if I pass the boolean rounded true means rounded rectangle it should give. It is something like that. Basically, we are creating the shape factory. Like shape is different kind of shape, right? Rectangle, circle, and rounded.
You are telling about the factory implementation.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
So one more layer where you implement this factory.
Yeah.
Which will pass the required object to the client.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, that's very good. No problem. So okay, fine then. I think we can end this discussion and again connect at 9 o'clock. I'll ask Ajay to send this Skype meeting. So you have Skype access, right? You Skype access lessons in your laptop.
General, it's not Skype for business. General Skype ID I have.
Yeah, it's not a problem. Like even though once you receive the email and that Skype link, click on that. It will ask you to install small plugin if you don't have. Otherwise, it will automatically move.
Sure.
So same thing. I will call you on your mobile and screen sharing through Skype.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, Anish. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for your time. Yeah, thanks a lot. Bye.